In these bleak times, I have decided to run for truth and justice, which takes the form of running for president of the United States as a candidate for the People's Party. I enter in the quest for truth. I enter in the quest for justice. And the presidency is just one vehicle to pursue that truth and justice, what I've been trying to do all of my life.
Well, Dr. Cornel West said he's running for truth and justice, and that running for the presidency is only one part, one aspect of being able to stand up for that type of truth and that type of justice. And in the next part of his announcement, Dr. West talks about the various policy positions he will continue to fight for. And for him, it's all about changing material conditions. Take a look and a listen.
I come from a tradition where I care about you. I care about the quality of your life. I care about whether you have access to a job with a living wage, decent housing, women having control over their bodies, health care for all, de-escalating the destruction of the planet, the destruction of American democracy. Democracy creates disruption. It creates an eruption. It creates an interruption. Wide from below, the energies of everyday people is manifest. And I know there are precious people in your life who you care for. That's why it's important for you to be involved, important for you to participate.
Well, Dr. West wants people to be involved. He wants people to participate. He talks about precious people. Man, I mean, this is exciting. I am just giddy about it. I don't know if you could tell. I'm about to leap out of my skin almost, because I am so glad that Dr. Cornel West has entered this race, and he's laying it out in only the way that Dr. Cornel West can. And having him in this race is gonna make all the difference in the world. In the next part of his announcement, Dr. West talks about the failures, and rightfully so, of the two-party system, of the duopoly that is not really serving the needs of the people in the hoods where they are misunderstood. And it doesn't matter if we're talking about the rural hoods or the suburban hoods or the urban hoods. If you are among the working class, the public policy discussion, debate is never ever about you. Even this debt ceiling deal that we got the president touting, the president Joe Biden touting, is the antithesis of what the people, the everyday people of this country needs. And Dr. Cornel West frames this debate by talking about neoliberalism and neo-fascism. Neoliberalism being represented by this current president, President Biden, and neo-fascism being represented by Donald J. Trump. One more time, the words of Dr. Cornel West.
We're not talking about hating anybody, we're talking about loving. We're talking about affirming. We're talking about empowering those who have been pushed to the margins. Because neither political party wants to tell the truth about Wall Street, about Ukraine, about the Pentagon. Do we have what it takes? We shall see. But some of us are going to go down fighting, go down swinging with style and a smile, accenting the best in you and trying to tease out the best in me. Let's do it together.
Oh, baby, let's do it together. Some of us gonna go down swinging. We're gonna go down fighting. Will we win? We will see. But what we not gonna do, let me go ahead and paraphrase the great Dr. Cornel West. What we not going to do is just sit idly by and let this foolishness and mayhem and madness continue without pushing back. Dr. Cornel West, his announcement, now he's running under the People's Party banner, again, running not in the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, but running separate and apart from that. He is fully open, ready and able to challenge the machine. Jackson, I'm telling you, I didn't expect this. This was a surprise for me. I want to say it's a pleasant surprise because we need people like Dr. Cornel West to jump into this race. Your thoughts about his run and how he's not running under the banner of Democrat nor Republican?
Yeah, I actually, this was very surprising to me. I didn't know anything about it till I looked at the show prep earlier this morning. And I think it's good because before him, we had Marianne Williamson and I think John F. Kennedy Jr. or somebody like that. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Yeah. But other than that, the Democratic field, or just kind of the left wing side, was really closed. And a lot of that has to do with just the incumbency typically being difficult to overcome. But also, Biden just kind of sucking all the air out of the room, the DNC, the corporate media just kind of being there to cradle him. But I think Cornel West has a very strong ability to very effectively communicate the issues that unite everybody. And at worst, what he can do is help to sharpen up and whip the Biden administration into some shape, encourage other people to join the race. Because sometimes you need more people to join for more people to join. You need somebody to jump in to kind of show that it's all right to do that. Because again, at best, we can get somebody else to win the Democratic primary. And at worst, we can get better people in other offices. We can get the Biden administration to take up the fight in areas where he's really just kind of asleep at the wheel right now. But Cornel West specifically, he's very famous, very renowned. And so he's going to get a lot of face time, a lot of camera time. He's going to be able to get a lot of people involved. So I think it's a very good decision, and I'm happy to see him join the race, regardless of what party he's running in.
I am too, Jackson. I think people are tired of the political party affiliations, and we're going to go into that a little deeper. But to have him out there, and to have Marianne Williamson and Robert Kennedy Jr., all of them, to have the courage. You see, these people are outsiders. They're not elected to any current office, and that gives them the leeway that is necessary to be able to challenge the system. There are many people who are currently elected right now who know that they want to run, that know that the system needs to be challenged, but they run it under the banner of a Democrat, and so they want to have that machine support them. They don't want to go against the grain. And even though the polling is showing very clearly that the American people are not happy with any of the two, what appears to be major choices right now in the polling. And what I say appears to be, because polling is a snapshot in time, and Dr. West was not in any of this polling. And it's also how the media treats the candidates too, whether candidates get earned media. And your point about Dr. West is well known. I often tell him he's intergalactically known, but people seriously all around the world know who Dr. Cornel West is. He will be able to get that earned media, and other candidates should get it too, because the American people deserve to have a choice. But back to that earlier polling, the polling is showing very clearly that the American people are not happy with either President Biden or former President Donald J. Trump being the two so-called major candidates at this time, and they want better and they want different. And Dr. Cornel West gives them that, as well as Marianne Williamson and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Now, the fact that Dr. Cornel West, out of the two declared candidates on the Democratic side in terms of challengers, because there's three candidates running thus far, more can jump in. But because Dr. Cornel West is running not as a Democrat, not as a Republican, gives him also a different kind of pressure point. And that pressure point that he is picking up on is where the majority of the voters are. Because guess what? America, family and friends, sisters and brothers, most voters do not subscribe to either one of the parties. They see themselves as independents. The sad thing about it is that in many states, the duopoly have teamed up to make it harder for people to run as an independent, or to run, for example, the Working Family Party exists. They're very strong in New York, and they have chapters all over the country and really trying to make a breakthrough. But that's just another example. The duopoly comes together, meaning Republicans and Democrats come together to try to prevent third parties and also to try to prevent independents' voices from being heard. But let us put up this graph right here just to show you and remind you of where voters are. Most voters in this country do not identify with either political party. And it really is ridiculous and the height of arrogance to force over 300 million people to choose one or the other, or be entirely locked out of the primary voting process in most states. The share of US adults who identify with specific political affiliations. And we see almost 50% of the people identifying, this poll is coming from Gallup as reported in Axios in April, that 49%, almost 50% of voters identify as independents, with the two major, so-called major parties splitting the people who identify with them, 25% for both. So if we just look at the data points, it is very clear that the independent party, the quote unquote independent party, is the major party these days, and especially younger generations. When we think about millennials and Zs, and they don't necessarily identify with the duopoly. And as I traveled the country in 2012 and also, 2016 and 2020, I talked to a lot of people, even elders, who were sick and tired of the two major parties. So hot dog it, hot damn, here we go. You got a whole nother choice. 2024 presidential election has just gotten a whole lot hotter, baby. We will keep you posted on this, and hopefully we will have the one and only Dr. Cornel West here on Unbossed. I am going to call Dr. West and try to get him here on the show so you can hear from him directly, besides his announcement video. But get in, y'all, the more the merrier. Jackson, I can't wait to hear your comments about this race.